Week 3, college football, crazy. Indiana, shocking the world, dismantling 9th-ranked Illinois, 63-10. Texas Tech, rolling all over Utah, ranked upset. Syracuse, making history with their first ever win at Clemson's Death Valley, leaving Dabo and the Tigers at a painful 1-3 record. Memphis, storming back to beat Arkansas. Florida getting embarrassed by Miami. Loved it. Oklahoma flexing with a record 10 sacks against Auburn. But of course the drama doesn't stop there. In the NFL, chaos defined by clutch kicks, blocked field goals. The Browns stunning the Green Bay Packers at the buzzer. The Chargers edging Denver in another last-second finish. The Bucks surviving a Jets comeback attempt. And the Eagles erasing a 19-point deficit to hold on to beat the Rams. Some teams were proving that their championships, contention with resilience, while others, like the Giants, the Texans, and my beloved Jets, are already staring down crisis. Strap in, because today we're going to break down the winners, the losers, the players who balled out, the ones who folded, and the coaches that are already feeling the heat. Let's get it. Welcome to the Willie Bobo Show. And Dabo, you put your foot in your mouth earlier this week, didn't you? Talking all that to show how great of a coach you are, and there's nothing wrong with you, but you couldn't blame it on the program itself because that would have cost you. Just the same way that Saturday cost you. Syracuse. Not that Syracuse is a terrible team. The fact of the matter that Syracuse got embarrassed by Tennessee in their opening game, then they come down to your Death Valley and make noise. That raises some serious red flags there, Dabo. Also some serious eyebrows. Cade Klubnik, yeah, he threw for big numbers, but the team as a whole still looked off. Like, what's the identity of the Clemson Tigers? 1-3? Yeah, that's a rough start for a program with high expectations. That makes the fans and the people of the university have low patience with you. Florida got outplayed by Miami. Simply, their defense had moments, but, it just wasn't enough. The offense couldn't keep up. They have quarterback issues. They have offensive issues. They have special teams issues, and they have a coaching problem. Illinois, golly, they got blown out by Indiana. It wasn't just a loss, but it's a loss as to which they were thoroughly outmatched. They gave up over 300 yards on the ground. Like, what is that? Indiana's a basketball school, people. And then Arkansas, they gave up a big lead. They shouldn't have lost that game, especially painful for Sam Pittman and his staff. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. Oklahoma State, man, this had to be probably the worst one of the day. They lost to Tulsa at home for the first time in many decades. And when I tell you exactly how many years, you're going to be like, wow, yo. This is more than just fan base being frustrated. This is people like T. Boone Pickens, a multi-billionaire who isn't going to stand for that. So let's talk about those coaches on the hot seat. Aforementioned, Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State. That loss to Tulsa, embarrassing historically. First time they lost to Tulsa in 74 years. Fans are already chanting for his firing, and it happened. Tuesday, he got canned. That 1-2 start after 3-9 last season, that helped to seal the deal. I don't agree with that firing. Van Gundy's been at 21 years. Not Van Gundy, pardon me, Coach Gundy. He's been at 21 years. And he's been successful for 21 years. That's the kind of thing that to me is like a panic move. Simply. You saw some bad plays. You saw some kids that really aren't great. Well, guess what? You're not spending NIL money. You're not hitting up the portal. Okay? For example, Texas Tech, 28 players. Okay, well, I'm sorry, $28 million spent on players to be able to bolster that defense. You know what it is. As a billionaire, one of their favorite phrases they love to say is that it takes money to make money. Well, you guys aren't spending it. You have T. Boone Pickens tattooed all over that stadium. It's time for him to start spending some of that money. Sam Pittman, Arkansas, Your collapse versus Memphis and your inability to close out big deals, it's pitiful. That's an underwhelming start for an SEC team playing Memphis. You got to have presumably higher expectations than that, And let's go back to Dabo. That Syracuse loss at home, mounting scrutiny, 1-3 start, plus visible frustration from your players. It's obvious, man, you got problems. Just like, Gundy, 74 years. 74 years. Look at what you've allowed to happen, Dabo, in one season in 4 games. Something ain't right, Keith Sweat. You need to fix your shit. Luke Fickell, never thought your name would come in my mouth, speaking of a coach that'd be on the hot seat. Your performance versus Maryland was pure out bad. I heard stands chanting, fire Fickell. Okay, it's very easy to say, fire Fickell. Consistency has been lacking. I never thought I'd say that about him. Virginia Tech's Brent Pry. UAB's Trent Dilfer. I feel bad for Trent. Trent's a good dude, man. He just can't get the talent to go to UAB. Louisiana Tech's Sonny Cumbie. Based on the preseason expectations versus current performance, these coaches are on the hot seat. So now we're going to look at the NFL. The NFL is getting a little fun. Regardless of the pompous nature of their political bullshit, they're actually looking kind of fun, I will say that Cleveland Browns game versus the Packers, the Browns won 13-10, field goal, stunner, total stunner. Rookie kicker Andrew Smith hit a 55-yarder at the buzzer. The Browns blocked a late Packers attempt. Defense came through. Joe Flacco sitting on the bench like he was about to pass out until he saw the ball go through the uprights. It was crazy. Y'all shouldn't have lost that game to the Browns, but it was crazy. The Chargers, 23-20 over Denver. Also dramatic. Chargers win on a last-second 43-yarder kick, I think I was, by Cameron Dicker. You got to close those out. I'm a big fan of Bo Nix, man. I was a fan of Bo Nix, even since he was at, Auburn. Got to push through, baby. Tampa Bay beating New York 29-27. Another wild one. The Jets nearly pulling off the comeback, blocking a Bucs field goal, returning a touchdown. Also on a pick six. They had some great plays in that game, man. But the Bucs response, game winner, field goal, time expires. Baker Mayfield's got some great stuff going on down there, but Mike Evans just got hurt. He's got a tweaked hamstring. He might miss 4 weeks. Philadelphia, 33-26 over the Rams. Great game, because the Rams had them down 14 points. Blocked field goal, rumble, big man, rumble. That shit was awesome, And as a matter of fact, I think they clocked him as running the fastest ever by a defensive lineman returning a ball of any kind for a touchdown. That was crazy. I love that. I love that a lot, AJ Brown came up big. His contributions were major, and I mean they were major. Special teams unit, they had a huge impact, beyond question, right? The Steelers beat the Patriots 21-14. Turnovers and defensive plays made by Brandon Echols and Cam Hayward. TJ Watt also made the difference. It really, really did, They outgained yards wise and made plays. It was wonderful to watch that, Plus, they took a load off of Aaron Rodgers because you don't want to put the old man in a position to have to try to win a game like that, The Jets, as I alluded to, they put up a great fight, but mistakes really piled up on them early in the game, and they just couldn't come back from that. They're 0-3 finish right now, and this collapse, nearly giving it away after a block return, it just feels like so many missed chances, right? Missed chance after missed chance, man. And then when I look at the Houston Texans, people want to say that, there's been regression, but I don't think so, man. It's just that things aren't what they were a couple of years ago. So you got mistakes, you got penalties, you got turnovers. They struggle in key moments. Now they're 0-3, and that start historically is a big hurdle. Typically in that division, you're not going to make the playoffs if you're an 0-3 team. It's just not going to happen. The Giants, Duquan, what's going on with your team, homie? That's another loss to Kansas City. Generationally, quarterback needs to be changed. And I say that generationally because it literally is a generation apart. The offense is mad inconsistent. Yeah, drop passes, turnovers. Russell Wilson's regression has once again shown, and you don't need a microscope to see it. All you need to do is watch, okay? Because Jackson Dart needs to play, man. I don't know what else y'all are waiting for. This looks like the Knicks, simply. So now with all that in mind, we'll go to the NFL teams with coaches that are under the hot seat. Number one, starting off with Brian Daboll. Again, 0-3 start, offensive woes, growing fan frustration, poor performance, just magnifies the concerns. It's like, what are you guys doing in the front office, man? Sean Payton. I don't like Sean Payton. Sean Payton has had some comments about certain things to certain people. Good riddance, Sean Payton, because you're losing. Your drama is coming close. The offense is struggling to finish. Multiple late losses don't help either, man. Can't seal deals. D'Amico Ryans, unfortunately, you're winless. Offense, making mistakes. They're rolling over, it seems to be. And so they need to be shown that they can at least be competitive. They need to show that. The whole Jets coaching staff, another collapse. Issues in discipline, execution, defeats like this really add up, and it's one of those things, man, that you guys got to get straight. Otherwise, that whole coaching staff needs to go. The Ravens dropping a bad fourth quarter game to the Lions. It seems to be that Derrick Henry this year has had 2 fumbles in the fourth quarter that were the worst times ever. Now, mind you, after 500 and something carries, he's only done this twice. Okay. And this is something that we've never really seen from him before. So the Ravens continue to drop games in the fourth quarter after they've had, leads by 7 points or more, 1-3. And that's just happening way too often. Joey Bosa now out for the season. The 49ers are adding to what they, thought was going to be a great year, but Brock Purdy being hurt, that puts the Niners in big trouble, man. And what say ye, Jerry Jones? Since the departure of Michael Parsons, you paid 2 wide receivers, you paid an O-lineman, and one of those wide receivers dropped 4 balls in his first game. Now the same wide receiver is hurt, ankle messed up. And the guy that you brought in to be his speller, it seems like he can't catch in crucial situations either. Your defense looks like Swiss cheese, point blank. Your wide receivers, they can't get open other than these 2 guys. But everybody else's receivers had holes all over the place to sit down in your zones. Dude, you're terrible. You need to stop doing what you're doing to these fans, man. Because you, Greg Abbott, and Orange Hair are fucking up everything. Yo, we'll be right back, you guys, after these messages from Connect the Dots. Stay tuned. This episode of the Willie Bobo Show is brought to you by LHJR Clothing, where it's not just a clothing brand. It's a movement. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for staying with me. So, of course, the Willie Bobo Show covers a lot of different things. Right now, I'm in sports mode. But even in sports mode, I think it's important for us to take a step back and a look back on the historical people who made a difference in our lives and gave us the ability to love sports, play those sports, and actually show ourselves in those sports. So this week, we're going to cover a Black history story. On September the 17th of 1967, Hall of Famer Elvin Hayes, from right here in Texas, right down the road in Houston, led the University of Houston basketball team to an upset over UCLA, ending their 47-game win streak. Lou Alcindor was on that team. Known as the Game of the Century, it was played at the Astrodome and it drew over 50,000 fans, the largest crowd to watch a basketball game at that time. Hayes performed that night, and he changed college basketball forever. He paved the way for nationally televised games, opening more doors for Black athletes to shine on the biggest stage. Mr. Hayes, thank you so very much for all your contributions. Thank you for being one of my favorite players throughout my lifetime. You've done a lot for us, sir. The great Elvin Hayes. Also, guys, as usual, we're doing our San Antonio local hero. So today we're going to talk about Tommy Nobis. He was born right here in San Antonio, a dominant linebacker at Thomas Jefferson High School and later at the University of Texas. He won the Outland Trophy that year, so evidently he was a damn good player. He became the first draft pick ever for the Atlanta Falcons and was nicknamed Mr. Falcon. How about that? Throughout his NFL career, he spent time in Atlanta, and his roots and toughness were pure San Antonio. Nobis showed the world what Texas football was all about. All right, you guys, that's a wrap on week 3 of college football and week 2 of the NFL. So we covered upsets, heartbreaks, and history. That's what keeps us watching, right? So remember, the games don't just live on the field, they live in the stories, the history and the heroes, the black athletes who broke barriers, to our San Antonio legends. Thank you for tuning in to the Willie Bobo Show. Make sure you like, subscribe, and if you'd like to be a guest, drop a comment, email me at thewillieboboshow@gmail.com. Peace.